Right, I'm gonna try something that I've never really tried to do properly live before. I'm gonna actually try and create myself a sort of early stage corrupted Death Guard champion, well, sergeant to be precise, for my Mark III. I really want him to look just slightly different than all the other troops. So the rest of the troops are just going to be normal. So they're just going to... I'm going to pick which special weapon they're going to have. But I wanted this guy to feel like he's in that early stage of corruption. So he's not quite fully Nurgle yet, but you start to see some changes on him. So in order to do that, I've just... pulled out some parts that I think will be useful for this, and I've pre-prepped a lot of them. So you can see I've kind of started building the body. I haven't glued this part on yet because I found this in my bits box, and to be quite honest, I think it's possibly from a Cruel Boy from Age of Sigmar, but that's going to nicely replace that front piece there. I've got some things like Chaos Space Marine chainsword. Now, I'm going to cut this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take the power pack, try and tidy it up a bit, and then I'm going to use a bit of brass rod. And then I'm going to take this Bretonnian Halberd and effectively just make a very simple power halberd. So not quite a scythe, but something along those lines. I also got a Chaos Space Marine bolt pistol, and I've kind of smoothed off some of the more chaotic looks, but kept them a little bit. So just to, again, infer that the corruption is coming in, but it's not fully there yet. So hopefully this is going to be a good build and it's going to work. So the first thing I probably need to do is finish prepping the main body. So of course, in order to do this, I'm going to have to take this part off here. Now, this is the first kind of stage that I'm worried about, because if I do this wrong, that's it. There's no coming back from this. The model's just going to be hard to fix when I make this kind of cut along. But there we go. I think I've managed to get that off smoothly. Now, I'm not going to do anything else as far as cutting it down yet. What I need to do is I need to get this secure on here. So I'm going to glue the leg I've just cut onto the body. And then that'll kind of tell me how well this will fit and what I'll need to do to make it settle in properly. So you can see I am going to have to get some green stuff part of this build. There's no way that I'm going to be able to avoid that. And then I'm just going to kind of work out how this should fit and sit. Yeah, so I think what I need to do is there's a little bit of... Basically, there's just too much popping off the back of this. So if I carefully cut that out, shave it down a bit, very gently and carefully, because I don't want to slice my thumb open again. And basically, I'm just going to try and very gently maneuver this into position. I'm going to have it there. So when it's done, it's going to sit like that. So you can see I'm definitely going to have to get some green stuff out in a minute. What might help as well, this is the thing, you just got to be careful about how much you take off and where you're taking it from. But the good thing is, if you're going to green stuff later on, as long as you've got a roughly clean cut, the green stuff should fill the gap quite easily. I'm glad as well that this is going to be on the bottom of the model, so if I don't do a great job on the green stuff, it's not really going to be visible. But what I'm very interested in right now is just making sure that when this folds over the top of this, it's in a good position. I really want this to be a lot thinner, so I think I'm really going to have to cut down this, because I want to get this as tight to the body as possible. Please be careful when you're doing something like this, because it's just so easy to go and slice into your own thumb instead of onto the model. I'm probably showing very, very terrible knife skills at the moment. I'm probably got a lot of people wondering if I'm going to end up digging into my own thumb. So there we go, I've pulled that so it's dipping a bit better into this recess where I want it. Yeah, I think if I head to about here on it, it's so difficult because I want it to feel like it naturally fits into here without it kind of sliding over. Okay, I think that's probably where I want it to be at this point. Right, next thing I'm going to do to cut down the amount of modelling putty that I'm going to end up using. I'm going to get this part out of here. I'm going to glue that onto there. So basically, this should now go. Try and get this right. I've got to get it the right way around. And all I've done is I've just filled in that gap without having to use tons of modelling putty. It also should provide a bit more of a stable bond for this. I say should. Should is always that interesting word, isn't it? Should. As in, probably not going to. Come on, just stay a little bit lower where I want you to. I'm just trying to get it, stay where I told you to. Got to get it at the right angle so like the points look like they're sitting in the right place. And then what I'm going to do is in a little bit I'll fill that with modelling putty just to kind of deal with the gaps. Okay, so while that's having a nice dry, I'm going to start prepping the chainsword for conversion. Into a power halberd. Oh. Right. Now I'm going to be cutting this off right below here. a nice clean bond on these two parts. I'm hoping this kind of gives me the look that I'm going for. Right, oh, dropping things here. And then what I've done is I've actually cut off a bit of brass rod before, and I'm going to use this to complete it. Now, personally, I think I've gone, what I'm trying to do is think about, is this brass a bit too long at this point? Yeah, I think it's probably a bit too long at this. But then again, I suppose if you were holding it like this, you would want the reach, wouldn't you, on something like this? It's always a difficult thing deciding how long something like this should be. I suppose if I look at this, yeah, it's only slightly longer, so I think that's probably a good size at this point. Now, you're never getting a bit of brass rod to stay. Without using some proper glue. And I think that's always going to be a problem when you're doing something like this. It's the how long it'll take to dry thing. Maybe the other way around. Just realised that end's not as flat as I want it to be. It's drying, anyway, I keep holding it. Yes, this is the part that I don't like on these kind of videos. It's trying to get things to glow that don't want to glow. It's going to keep doing that for ages. I don't want to put too much super glue on this, you see, because if I do, it's just going to end up looking rubbish. Right, I'm going to try, see, I can't even just lay it flat. I've got to keep it held while it tries to dry. As you can see, trying to get this to hold on his hair. Now, definitely going to need some more glue. Come on. Not asking for much. I'm just asking that you glue. So it's difficult when you're dealing with something that's like heavy in weight and you don't want to spend ages holding it in place. I'm going to try and kind of leave it like that for a while, and hopefully it'll glue. Okay, while I'm waiting for that to kind of dry up now, I'm going to start thinking about the other parts of the model and how I want them to go together. So I got hold of a Chaos Space Marine bolt pistol. This is going to be this arm. Now I've got to think about positioning as well, because it's got to feel like it's going in the right place. Gosh, my fingers are just completely rubbish today. I think the other thing is I'm going to have to take off that there. Then it should settle on. I'm constantly picking up the wrong things today, aren't I? Then twist the pistol so it looks like it's actually being raised forward. Then you can see I've decided to go for this Chaos Space Marine shoulder. I actually think this is from, it might be from one of the Raptors, this actually. But it does have a Mark III design, which is why I've chosen it. Again, it's early stage corruption, so it's touched by the warp, but it's not fully warped yet. Okay, keep on going now. Let's see how long it'll take to get these last bits done. Why am I using that? Oh, I know why I'm using that, because I've used my scraping tool to secure that while it dries. I hope that's not going to end up with a bend in the middle. It's so difficult when you're super gluing stuff that's got bad weighting. It's almost glued. Just wish it would hurry up. You can see it's kind of wobbling off centre. I'm not happy about that. It will be alright in the end. It's just about very gently teasing it in the right direction. But I think I'm going to have to reset that. Okay. Now, there we go. Get these to work with each other instead of against each other. Always a difficulty when you're taking a shoulder pad that wasn't designed, whether or not it'll interfere with the backpack. There we go. You can get it on. And then get this head, and then what I'll do is I'll pause for a little bit while I make sure that that halberd is dry, prep some modelling putty so that it's ready for use. I've chosen this mast head because, you know, really want to scream Death Guard. So I'll pause it, make sure this is dried and make sure that it hasn't gone twisted, and then I'll get some modelling putty ready. Okay, so got myself a bit of green stuff, and I'm going to just use this just to kind of both cover up and slightly strengthen this join. I have to admit, me and green stuff are not the best of friends. I'm not going to pretend that we work well together. But all I'm just trying to do is just basically make it as best as I can. Make it a simple binding. Just trying to make sure as well that it's straight as well, because you know what these things are like, they love to mess around, don't they? Okay, now as for the rest of this, just to kind of make sure there's no ugly gaps anywhere, more green stuff, be my friend. Just glad this bit's on the bottom so it doesn't get seen. Now, unfortunately though, these bits can be seen and I need to get these on now and make them look right. And then a little bit on the other side. Now the other side needs a bit more. So as long as I've got the back filling in, if it really I'm not happy when it all dries, I can probably go over it with liquid green stuff just to finish filling in any of the gaps. I think there's trying to fill in anything that looks like it shouldn't be like this. Got the, you get in there, you get in there. There we go. I think I'll probably need to add a little bit of liquid green stuff later because I think that little gap there definitely needs dealing with, but I think overall that works. Oh, and then of course we're getting to the ending part now, fingers crossed. So Put this on here. I've got to think about my arm position now, because this is a very, very, very long weapon. But if I do it right, it can look like it's kind of in a resting position behind his back, which is what I want to go for. Now, my biggest worry about this point is whether or not this is going to have so much weight to it that it's going to be like very hard to dry. I think we should be okay. Worst case scenario is I do decide to cut this down a bit later on. Stay. Yeah, you can see that's like quite a weighty weapon. So there we go. Should be okay. It has got quite a lot of length to it, but it kind of really does make him look like it's going to be a major problem as a result of it. Now, of course, got to make sure he actually goes on a base without it being problematic as well, which probably doesn't sound like it should be an issue, but who knows. And there he is. So, an early stage corrupted Death Guard Sergeant. I think potentially I might need to put a bit of liquid green stuff down here in the future. But I hope you like him. I might even need to find some kind of little ball to put on the end of that, you know, just to make it look like it just doesn't end in a ragged clump. Rats, oh no, I've knocked that while it's drying. Let's see if I can straighten it. There we go. So, as I said, I hope you like that. I'm not, you know, I don't get enough time to practice converting stuff, so I just try and do the best I can do with a combination of kit bashing and a little bit of green stuff here and then. But I think he does look definitely Death Guard with his power halberd there. So I hope you like it. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.